I'm having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting sheep but running out. As time ticks by,
Tick-tock.
still I try.
Yeah, we hustling today.
Oh, as for cross chops in my mind, on my own, here we go.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are live and direct in studio today. You are dialed in and listening to the Unleashed Radio Hour, or as I like to say, the experience known as the Unleashed Radio Hour. I'm your host, Ron Klinger. You're dialed in. This is Business 1110 KTEK. And look, we're going to get started the same way I start out every single show. I need you out online. I'm streaming live. I got folks I'm waving to out there on Facebook, streaming live on my personal profile today. But I need you to go out, go to Facebook. Just go open that little search bar and search Unleashed Radio Hour. That's all you got to do. Piece of cake, go over and like the page. Again, I'm trying to drive all the traffic out to Facebook, get you out there following along. You can always stay connected to everything on the show at UnleashedRadioHour.com. Again, UnleashedRadioHour.com. Hey, you hear the music? We're going to run to that first break. We come back, going to jump in today's topic. And, oh, guess what? Today, hang on. The really red whistle, it's bad whistle. Hey, return to the setup. When we come back, right after these messages.
Take a moment and rate your lifestyle on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is a life that's nothing like the life you were promised after getting good grades, a college degree, and a good job in corporate America. 10 is the life of your dreams. If you answered anything less than a 10, tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Business 1110 KTEK.
The following update is for drivers who pay too much for car insurance due to DUIs, DWIs, tickets, or anything else. Our company specializes in low-cost SR22 auto insurance. We know that mistakes happen and offer free quotes for very affordable auto insurance meant specifically for you, the overpaying high-risk driver. The quote is free and we'll handle the filing so you could start saving money. Call 800-749-2984, 800-749-2984, 800-749-2984.
This is Business 1110.
Yeah, we coming with it now. We dialed in, little Bulls on Parade. If you're out there on the Facebook stream, on my personal profile, you know I'm all done up. Texans all time. It is football season. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to roll. Ready to get this season underway for the NFL. But hey, you dialed in. This is business radio. So what does that have to do with anything out there at all? Well, listen, we're going to get started. But again, I'm going to ask you, hey, just go out. Do me a favor. Huge favor. Pretty please favor. With a little sugar on top. Hop on out there. Go out to Facebook, get online. Of course, if you're driving and you're behind the wheel, don't do that now. That would be a bad idea, right? But hey, look, what I want you to do, do me a favor, do me a solid, go out there, go into that search bar on Facebook, and go look for Unleashed Radio Hour and like the page. Stay connected, follow along, and let me know if you're out there. Hey, I got Brittany, I got Adam, I got Eric, I got Chris, I got a whole bunch of folks streaming live out with me out there on Facebook, giving some shout-outs. Hey, and absolutely a Go Texans got you going there as well, too. Now, listen, things are heating up here, which means, hey, we in the dog days of summer or coming close towards the ends of summer, which means school's coming back in session. We're going to have some topics coming up here the next couple of weeks with that back-to-school college planning. But what I wanted to do today, and I've been moved, I go with topics that move me based upon what I read, based upon conversations that I'm having, based upon things that are really just kind of pertinent that are out there in today's workforce. I mentioned earlier in the opening segment, we've got the return of the setup. That'll be on the other half of the hour here today, the return of the setup coming in here, and you'll learn more about that when we get to that point in time. But what I want to talk to you about right now is I need to dial this in literally because it matters. It's going to impact every single one of us. If you're a longtime listener of the show or a friend of the show, you know a major topic that I dive into is really getting in and talking about, what's going on our workforce trends, what's happening out there in today in the real world. right? Why do I say that? Because you got some folks right now, you got that class of 2017 that's getting ready to go out. They are weeks away of starting their college experience. And we'll get more into that in the weeks to come to try to prepare with some information, tools, and resources to make sure that that is a positive transition. But here's one of the things I need to really talk about that I think is becoming critical and more important day in and day out. And if you're following along out there at Unleashed Radio Hour on Facebook, and you like the page, I launched out, I scheduled a post, it's already out there. I had a little chance to get creative, do a little pre-planning. Imagine that for today's show. And there's a cartoon. And the cartoon graphic that I found that I wanted to share out on the website is a dynamic that is facing our youth today. And when I say our youth, I'm using what is considered the average range, 15 to 24. Okay, 15 to 24, youth to young adult. And why does that matter? Because they aren't launching into successful careers. And one of the key driving factors that I believe that the photos of what I've shared and what I'm putting out there is this cartoon-esque character, round-circled face on Facebook. Again, I'm giving it to you, but you got to go out to see it. Go out, Unleashed Radio Hour on Facebook. It has this person in the middle, and there's a tear coming out their eye. And then the top is, I can't get hired because I don't have experience. And on the other side, because I can't get hired. And it's a cycle that has enveloped our youth today. We have taught, and I've got topics out there. You can go out to unleashedradiohour.com. Click on the podcast link. You know, I had a great interview a couple of weeks ago with Jenner Crushell, and we talked about, that our youth aren't being appropriately prepared for the world and what's coming today. And I'm digging into that with a very specific, targeted conversation because they don't have any experience. And so if you're a parent that's out there, if you're a business owner that's out there, or if you're a manager or a leader, how do we manifest an educated, engaged workforce if young people are graduating from college or going out into, quote unquote, the real world without any relevant work experience whatsoever? And that is a huge problem. It is such a problem that it is actually cited. If you go out right now, and again, individuals aged 15 to 24, which is the typical age range, you're finishing school, high school, getting started, right? Employment laws that are out there. The issue that's real is that age group, 15 to 24, in the United States for June of 2017, had an unemployment rate of 13.3%. 13.3% of individuals in the United States are not employed. Ages 15 to 24. That is part of the problem, folks. Part of the issue is, you know what? You're like, but they don't have to work. They want to be kids. That's great. I am not talking about young people going out at 15, 16, 17 years of age, working 40 hours a week all the time. But they do need to gain some relative work experience. Consider the following story, and it's in my own personal database. Right? I worked in the staffing industry for a very short period of time, but I will never, ever forget the following experience. I sit down, we had an appointment scheduled for a young man that was looking for work. He came in, filled out all the paperwork, did all of what needed, and when I began to review his application to try to find ways in which I could help him go out and get work, one, he didn't have any previous work experience. So I began to say, well, have you volunteered? Have you done it? What kind of transferable skills are you looking for to be able to use, to engage, to share? Nada. 9, zilch, 0, nothing by of which to work for. And so I tried to do my best to help this young man understand and comprehend, but at the end of the day, I couldn't help him. I, in a position where I'm staffing, can't say to a client who's looking for someone to come in and do work and hand them someone who's never worked a single day in their lives. That doesn't work in that industry. And so, unfortunately, for young people, When you start looking for work, you've got to go out and be the aggressor. You've got to go out and do the stories that need to be told in an interview. Connecting back to our show last week with author Esther Choi and good friend of mine on Let the Story Do the Work, the business case for storytelling in business. Right? When you go into an interview, whoever's interviewing you wants to know, what have you done? What kind of experiences have you gained? And that is where we as a society have dropped the ball in what we've done in the environment that we've created for our young people that are out there today. We have been preaching and teaching, and I've got a podcast out, UnleashedRadioHour.com, called Flipping the Conversation. We have been preaching and teaching, go to high school, graduate, go to college, graduate, get a job. And the point that I'm trying to get to on flipping the conversation is nowhere in there does it say, what are you going to pursue when you're done with all these educational experiences? It's great to have read the book. It's great to have passed the class. But that's knowledge. That's not been applied yet. And I'm pausing for a very specific reason, because just because one has a college degree does not translate to gainful employment. And that's the whole point of today's discussion from my eyes, is that we've got to understand that in today's work world, if you're a manager, if you're a business owner, if you're a leader that's out there, how many of you have hired someone with zero experience in a professional position? Something that pays a wage, a monthly salary with a zero work experience. I'm letting that sink in. It doesn't happen routinely. If it does, heck, there may be some nepotism going on. I don't know. Hey, we're going to hire this kid because, it's the boss's kid. Okay. But the reality is we have got to do a better job of making sure that our young people are prepared when they get out in the real world. When they get out there and they're asked to clock in and punch out. Moms and dads should not be calling, and oh yes, it happens, to call in for little Johnny or little Susie as to why they're not coming to work that day. Cough, cough. Yeah, no, right? What does work actually look like? And I think that's a critical piece. Why? Because one, it's again, who's going to hire someone in a job or a role or capacity who's never worked a day in their life? May have all the academic credentials in the wide universe, but has never truly worked a day in their life. And that is where we're going to talk. So a couple things. I got some 5 tips that I'm going to give here in this show today about why this matters. The first thing I need you to understand is that unemployment in youth is high. 13.3% as of June 2017. So last month's data. If I go and I look back, if I go back to August of last year, it was almost 16%. May was 16%. June was 15.9. July was 15.6. And that takes into account like seasonal work, like students that are working through the summer and then going away, or seasonal jobs. It takes into account. But man, when we've got those many young people who aren't working, and we wonder why we have a difficult time getting them work once they have their associate's degree, once they have their bachelor's degree, it makes it all that much more difficult to hire them. And one of the things that it says it right here where the data is when you start looking at folks that have just completed school, an unemployed person is someone who has been laid off, fired, or quits his work and is still looking for a job. Right? Unemployed is someone who's laid off, fired, quits. That doesn't include the people who ain't even looking. That doesn't even include the people who aren't actively out there searching. Part of the key problem is that many different reasons exist, but here's one that I think is critical. We have an educational system that is mismatched between academic education and needs in the labor markets. Case in point. If you know someone who owns a plumbing business, if you know someone who is an HVAC, air conditioning, because by goodness, good googly goo, do we need that right now here in H-Town? How difficult is it for them to get people trained in their craft? Electricians, plumbers, all those trades. How difficult is it for them to get people to come in and to do that work with the work ethic that's necessary and the experience that's necessary to do a good job? That's what we're talking about. Talk about mechanics, auto mechanics, diesel mechanics, skilled positions, because we're not mapped out and aligned accordingly. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to a break. We're going to come back in the next 2 segments. I'm going to drop 5 reasons why that experience is a necessity. 5 tips on why your young person, 15 to 24, needs to get out of the house, off of the Xbox, out of the bed, stop binge watching on Netflix or Hulu or anything else, and to get a J to the O to the B to start gaining experience so that they can have a successful future to launch into. You hear the music, it's time for me to jam away. Hey, you dialed in. This is the experience known as the Unleashed Radio Hour, and we'll be right back.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. A free book to help get the most income in retirement from TV host Josh Melberg has been released. Grab a pen right now because we're about to offer this free book that reveals simple to understand truths about annuity strategies. Call 800-885-4477 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today and a free DVD on how you can get more income in retirement. Like James, 57. He wants to retire in 10 years, but is afraid he might outlive his savings. He'll receive more than $49,000 of guaranteed income per year for life using next-gen annuity strategies with a $490,000 annuity. That's $49,000 per year for the rest of his life, no matter how long he lives. Call 800-885-4477 to get your free information kit. That's 800-885-4477. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength of the insurance company. Hypothetical examples. Increased income is possible following a specific strategy suited to your financial goals.
This is Business 1110.
All right, if that doesn't kickstart your heart, I don't know what does. Little Motley Crew here today on the Unleashed Radio Hour. Your host, Ron Klinger, rolling along today. Look, we're talking we're getting excited. We've got another edition of the setup, getting ready to rock, getting ready to roll here today. We'll get to that here shortly. But before we do, I launched into today's discussion and topic, really talking about the importance and the significance that today's youth must have in getting some relevant work experience. Okay? And so I'm going to give 5 tips here that I think that matter. Hey, if you'd love to get into this conversation, hey, call in text in to the line 281-892-1972. That text line 281-892-1972. If you'd like to chat with me, bring it online. That's all great too. 713-785-1817. That telephone number again is 713-785-1817. Now listen, when we're talking about this topic, and again, I'm trying to appeal to the hiring managers, to the hiring supervisors, but I'm also trying to appeal to parents that are out there. It's great that you take care of things for your kids so that your kids can still be kids. But a big part of that is also pushing them in a path and direction that's going to prepare them for life and to launch out on their own. So when you're ready to cut the tie, when you're ready to cut the cord, when you're ready to cut out the pocketbook, they can go out and do what they need to do to exist in the world today. And what I'm trying to preach and teach from you, from the pulpit, from the microphone, from Business 1110 here in H-Town, streaming live out on Facebook, live on the podcast. If you listen to the podcast, well, the podcast really isn't live, so that's a contradictory of terms. But I'm trying to get to is this, to understand that our youth are lacking in the area of experience today. They're going out there and they're trying to get jobs that they're not able to secure because they've got no depth of experience to speak from, to talk to when they apply for a job. So what are the 5 key tips? Why does this matter? I'm going to get to those in just a second, but I talked about unemployment earlier, which is people who aren't able to they're not working, they've been laid off, they're out searching for work. But there's also another category that is often not discussed when it comes to the workforce trends. And what that is understanding that there's a term out there called underemployment. Underemployment speaks to the specific area where someone actually is working, right? It's a condition in which people are out there working. They're employed less than full-time in regular jobs or at jobs that are inadequate with respects to their training or economic needs. Meaning, people who have degrees are working in hospitality or service industries because they don't have any work experience, so they're getting the only experience that they can get. Those folks with degrees out there are underemployed. They are underemployed, meaning they're not reaching that full potential. Right? When we start looking at the underemployment rates in the United States alone, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is unemployment connects to underemployment later in life. If you're not employed and gaining work experience, you don't have anything to offer folks later down the road, then you're going to have to take jobs where you're going to qualify as being underemployed. They're connected. So why does all of this absolutely matter? In last year's data, underemployment in the United States, right? Underemployment, I actually have April of 2017. I've got a whole bunch of data stats up here. As of April 2017, underemployment in the United States is a tune of 14%. That means there are individuals out there that are doing work, that are doing jobs where they're either overqualified or they're taking jobs that are less than what their qualifications enable or empower them to do. And that's what we're talking about today. So why does all of this experience matter? First thing and foremost, when we start talking about gaining experience, that's the whole number one reason. Tip number one, why do young folks need to go out and do something? Do something is flat out to gain some experience, to do more than sitting behind a computer screen, to do more than sitting and looking at their cell phone, to do more than binge watching Xbox, PlayStation, whatever are the comforts of today. It's actually being engaged in doing something and gaining some type of experience that they can then filter. Case in point, which leads to number two, and I'll dig into more of that in the next segment. Once you start gaining experiences, then as an individual, you can begin to filter your likes and your dislikes. So by gaining experience, tip number one, gotta have it. Tip number two is then you can begin to decipher. You know what? I had a part-time job. And I worked in the restaurant industry, and I don't like it. I don't like working with food. I don't like working in the air. No. Okay. So what else would you like to do? Well, then I went out and I tried, and I did an opportunity and worked in retail. What was it about retail that you enjoyed? Well, I enjoyed doing da-da-da-da-da. Okay, we're talking about an interview right now. If you don't have any experiences by which to draw upon, the question is, who is going to hire you? So you got a piece of paper, you've got a diploma. Woohoo! Congratulations, great job. But if you don't have any experience, it's hard to advance to the next level. It's hard to level up. All right, we're going to come back, give you other tips on why it's important that our youth today get some relevant real-world experience in a job, in a job to make an money. We'll be right back after these messages.
Grandma, can you come out and play?
Sure, Ellie. Oh my, you might want to come here and help Grandma.
What's the matter, Grandma? Can't you stand?
Oh, sorry, honey. It's my knees. They don't work the way they used to.
Does this ever happen to you? Are you on Medicare? You may qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Call the Health Hotline to see if you qualify. Our friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. We also have braces for your shoulder, ankle, or back pain. And if you're covered by Medicare, you may qualify for free delivery.
Grandma, slow down. I can't keep up.
Maybe you can use a knee brace too, Ellie. Catch me if you can, kiddo.
Call now to get your pain-relieving knee brace. 800-296-1261. 800-296-1261. 800-296-1261. That's 800-296-1261.
This is Business 1110.
All right, we're dialed in, ladies and gentlemen. We're rocking, we're rolling. You're here with us on the Unleashed Radio Hour. Hey, I'm dropping it like it's hot, because it is hot outside. And listen, I'm dropping it like it's hot because I care about our youth. I care about the success that they're going to have going down the road. And I also care about you unleashing the power of your people in your business. So today I'm talking about, in my Ronologue, hashtag Ronologue. Instead of a monologue, it's a Ronologue. Just for those who've never heard that before. I got to have some fun when I can. So I've been talking about, looking at the people that are out there today that may be struggling to get not just work, but meaningful work. And I'm just telling you, it's all about gaining relevant experience. And why does that matter? First of all, it needs to be in that collective database. You know, that tip number one is you just got to have that experience. Without any of it, then how is tip number two, how are you able to decipher what you like and what you don't like about the work that you may be doing later in life? You know, some people like working in an office setting. Some people like, man, I want to be outdoors. Okay, but if you've never done one or the other, how can you affirm and know for sure? That's what I'm talking about. And that's a very rudimentary example, right? But part of the piece is when you gain that experience, it goes into that database. That database allows you to then reflect likes, dislikes, pros, cons about work that I may want to do or that I'm going to do down the road. That is huge. The next piece of it that gets into there is, okay, you know what? Hey, I've done some of this, and it can actually be a catalyst to future job opportunities. Because if you find an industry or you find this job sector, you find an environment that you absolutely positively enjoy, then guess what? Then if you're in it and other opportunities come along, you can grow and you can advance. But guess what? Because you never got any experience, you never got in the door in the first place. So again, I keep coming back to why is it that it matters gaining work and relative experience? Because I don't want you to not only be unemployed or underemployed, meaning not reaching your fullest potential. I need you to be out there taking care of your business. And that is the whole purpose of the show, ladies and gentlemen, is to give you information, tools, and resources to help you unleash your career or your business. So again, you know, those future opportunities, not only can you begin to learn about what those future opportunities are, you also can have a chance to understand what are the requirements. So if I want to go up and level up and get to the next plateau in my career, if I have a job and I want to do more, then by being out in the industry, you're going to have a better pulse of, hey, this job requires this certification. This job requires this amount of years of experience. And I think that's huge and critical as you begin to plan and go forward. And unfortunately, our youth today and folks entering the workforce, early in the workforce, they lack this because we've not made it a priority. We've not made it a priority to get relative work experience, to get out there, to do and to experience and to live and to be a part of that work world in ways that we know are necessary. Tip number 4, hey, imagine this. No matter what kind of work you get, if you're really good about keeping track of what you do, you're going to understand that you're going to develop, here's the key word, you have to do work to develop transferable skills. What is it that you've done in the past that an employer would be more than happy to hire you for in the future? For example, if you had a chance to work in a retail environment and answer questions and do sales, man, if you love sales, by good googly goo, there's jobs everywhere for you. Oh, and I didn't mean to rhyme that, by the way. But there is. The market has a huge demand for qualified salespeople. And if that's something that you've got and you did a little bit in the retail environment, that can take you on other paths and other journeys, but you've got transferable skills that when you interview, that you can talk to an interviewer, a hiring employer about. And then the biggest piece that if you go out and read about the young people entering the workforce today, the biggest area that's there, they will tell you young folks don't know how to work. They don't know how to work. They show up and thinking, oh, I'm here. Is this work? No. So not only do you need to gain the experience in your database, not only do you need to understand your likes and your dislikes, develop work opportunities for the future, identify those transferable skills, you need to learn what WORK actually looks like, and it's called work for a reason. All right, we're going to run to a break. You hear the music? This is the Unleashed Radio Hour.
My mom's a breast cancer survivor. The United Breast Cancer Foundation saved her life. Their free breast cancer exam caught the cancer early, and it saved her life. But now the foundation needs your help so they can continue offering free or low-cost breast screening exams, saving more women's lives. Help them by donating your car, whether it's running or not. They'll provide fast, free 24-hour pickup, and you receive a charitable tax deduction, plus the great feeling you'll get knowing your donated car is going to help save more lives. Just call 800-478-6860 to set the wheels in motion. They take cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs, running or not. Call 800-478-6860. The United Breast Cancer Foundation needs your help, and your donation could literally save women's lives, helping them catch breast cancer early, like they did with my mom. Donate today. 800-478-6860. That's 800-478-6860.
This is Business 1110.
Yeah, when you get work experience, it's too legit to quit. You don't want to. If you actually take a path and a journey, then you're going to unleash your career. Heck, you may even be running your own business. Right, you're dialed in. Hey, my name is Ron Klinger, the host of Unleashed Radio Hour. This is a production of Motivational Transitions. You can go out and learn more at motivationaltransitions.com. See, listen, part of the key is, and where I like being on the show here on Mondays, is to try to put some information out there that'll lift you up, that'll prop you up, that'll put a little pep in your step. Because there are far too many people out there in the work world that are not positively engaged in the work that they do. And I just think that's just pretty darn sad. All right. And yes, I'm doing a little embellishment there. I do. I believe it's sad. How many of you out there, and I can't get a show of hands because I can't see who is listening, but I feel like I'm having class up in here. And my point to that is this. How many people out there today, whenever time the alarm clock went off, whatever time that internal clock went off, and those feet hit the floor, how many people are like, oh, man, it's Monday. Oh, I can't stand Mondays. And I think that's part of our problem in today. I don't think enough people have a barometer or a filter or an awareness to understand what kind of work is that they want to do, that they're truly passionate about doing. And see, that's where I think this experience and this conversation in our youth is coming in to the forefront. I think a lot of times people take a job because they need the financial income and the revenue, but then maybe their heart and their passion isn't in the work that's being done, but it's a paycheck. Hey, and I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to hate on you. I'm not going to bring the haterade. But what I am trying to say is there can, and I believe that there's much, much more. And it's called engagement. It's called employee engagement. And it is as I've said time and time again, and I will continue to say, if you're a manager, you're a leader, you're a business owner, employee engagement is the holy grail of unlocking the potential in your people. It absolutely is. And we all know it when we all see it. We know when we go out in the world, we know that when we interact, whether it's at your fast food restaurant, whether it's at the airport, and sometimes airports don't always have engaged individuals. So we know when we do get someone who is engaged. I don't care the walk of life. I don't care the work. I don't care what's being done. The customer service representative. If they are fully engaged in the work that they do, you on the other side, you as the receiver, you know this. You absolutely, positively know this. It's an experience, and my point to that is, and I'm going to do a little newsflash. Newsflash. This is an important update on the Unleashed Radio Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, I've started to write my first book. And I mean really write. Not like, oh, I'm writing a book and then I never got anywhere. No, I'm really starting to write the first book. And that first book, the title of the book, as it is now, is about creating super fans for your business. Subtitle is A Game Plan for Today's Business Leaders. And what does that entail? That entails your super fans being your employees. That if you have fans internally in your organization, they love coming to work. They love being a part of something that's greater and bigger than themselves. They're connected. They are engaged. They're doing great quality work. Then guess what? Then everyone else that they interact with on a day-to-day basis is going to feel the impact of having an engaged workforce and those super fans. It's legit. I mean, why do you think, and again, down here, and I wish they was a sponsor because I'm feeling kind of hungry right now, Chick-fil-A. How many of you have ever had a truly negative customer service experience at a Chick-fil-A? Nobody, probably. And if you have, it was probably resolved pretty readily. Why? Because they hire and they train and they groom their employees to be engaged in the work that they do. They were the ones that started in the fast food industry, my pleasure. Thank you for helping me. It's my pleasure. Thank you for helping me get my meal. My pleasure. Is there anything else I can do to serve you today? It's a mentality. It is a language that is used that translates. Now, I'm going to tell you, why do I bring that up? Because, I bring up Chick-fil-A because what do you think the average age is of the worker at Chick-fil-A? They're young people that fall into that 15 to 24 age group who are out there in the world gaining meaningful experiences about work that will shape and transform and form what they're going to do in launching in life. And I just think that's absolutely 100% critical. It's not just about going to work and getting paid. It's about what are our young people learning about the world that they're in? What are our young people experiencing with what it is that they're doing? And I think that's the critical key, and that's the piece that matters most. We can no longer just say, graduate from high school, go to college, get a job. The equation is broken. The equation doesn't work. We've got to start having conversations with our young people. We've got to start coaching them and pushing them out of the house to go out and get some meaningful work. Not just because we want them to make money, although that's the benefactor of that, but it's because they're building a database of experiences that can inform and transform the career paths that they're going to pursue. And that's why I'm so passionate about this topic, because if you get young folks on fire for their degree, I'm going to tell you from my own personal experience, young people who understand and know why they're in college, who know why they're taking the classes, even though they're like, well, I don't know if I'm ever going to use this, but I know this is going to get me to this degree, that's going to allow me to go get to that job, then they persist. It's the ones that have no clue, have no idea what they're going to go and do. They're in college because mom and dad suggested, made, required, demanded, however you want to articulate. And then they had to choose a degree or a major that sometimes mom, dad, and others mandate in order to pay for tuition and fees. It's just a bad formula. You got to own it. And our young people, they need that. It is about their experiences now more than ever. And the reality is because we're those jobs of widget building, of assembly line, of just doing this job, and then in this little scope and narrowed perspective, they're gone. Those jobs they're here, don't get me wrong, but we're so much more in the relationship, knowledge, service economy than we've ever been. And that requires a different kind of worker. That requires a different kind of employee to make an impact, to be the difference maker in whatever business, whatever industry is out there, to go to the next level, to take it to the higher degree of success. That's what we're talking about. That's what absolutely, truly matters. That's why it's critical that today's workforce, that the folks today, young people out there listening, and I hope they are, share the podcast. I'll have it out at unleashedradiohour.com. You can follow along with all the podcasts also out on iTunes. Just search Unleashed Radio Hour. They'll pop up. I'm excited about the traction that the podcast gets. Listen to it while you're cutting the grass, right? Listen to it if you're taking a trip and you're driving off to college. I mean, there's over 2.5 years of podcasts out there on topics that all have the purpose and the intent of helping you to unleash your career in business. And that is the purpose of this show. That's why I do the show. That's why I do what I do. Why? Because of my experiential database to pull from. I know that I had people in my life that it made a difference for me, because they were there. I was able to gain experiences. And even at times, I got experiences that I didn't even think I was qualified for, but because someone told me, pardon the expression, you can do it. I did. Because they said I could do it. I did. And that is what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about how do we help that age group, 15 to 24. Right? And I actually believe at 16 to 26 is my humble opinion. In my presentations that I do, I call that the decade of difference. Matter of fact, I don't have anything out there, but I do own the domain name, decadeofdifference.com. Why? Because that launch, that getting out there, that being a part of that process is exactly what it means to be successful. And if you think of a decade, the 10-year time span in our growth, in our development, in our maturation process, when else and whenever does a 10-year time span matter more and how you positively launch into your life than between 16 and 26. I just can't tell you how important that is. That's why I've talked today. Hey, experience is required. Experience does matter. Go out, get it, network. Hey, look, and people are like, well, Ron, do I have to have a paid job? Sometimes no. Sometimes volunteering at a cause or something noteworthy just to gain relevance of what it is. Help out. If you want to be a veterinarian, what can you do to help out at the wherever the adoption centers are for pets? What can you do to help make sure that there's a chance to gain insight and perspective into an industry? That's what we're talking about. And the key time for all of this to take place, my humble opinion, you gotta get out there and network. You gotta get out there and gain experience. You've got to get out there and as the wise Jedi Master once said, do or not do, there is no try. Okay? I can't do Yoda voice, but I'm trying. But the quote holds true in this area. Do or not do, there is no try. You got to get out there and as some other people like to say, you got to Nike up. You got to just do it. Right? And that is where we're at today. That is where I think it's critical. No longer can those times of complacency and comfort play into the day. I think it's absolutely critical that our young folks learn, listen, adapt, so that we can launch them in a positive path for their life and what they do. All right, so we're getting into this, and hey, let me tell you something. If you're a hiring manager, you appreciate someone that's got some experience versus no experience, right? Because who you going to hire if they haven't done anything? They're not going to get the job, which again, it goes back to the unemployment, it goes back to the underemployment, and the cycle continues, and that's what we're here to try to break. Hey, speaking of break, it's time for us to run to a break. Hey, we're going to run off to a break, ladies and gentlemen. You're dialed in. This is the Unleashed Radio Hour. To learn more, go out to UnleashedRadioHour.com. Hey, hear the music. We'll be right back.
Writing a Christian book, you're doing an amazing thing, getting it all down on paper. But once you've got the manuscript, then what? Well, you can spend a year or more trying to find a publisher, or you can cut right to the chase. Make your book real with Xulon Press. Finding a publisher is time-consuming and uncertain. With Xulon Press, things are quick and definite. They specialize in one thing, helping Christian authors put their books in print. Xulon Press will publish your book. Xulon Press gets it into bookstores. Your book is on Amazon. Work with Xulon Press and there's no question, you are a published author. If you're writing a Christian book, get your free publishing guide from Xulon Press. Just log on to ChristianPublishing.com. That's ChristianPublishing.com. Xulon Press. Book publishing by Christians for Christians. Get your free publishing guide at ChristianPublishing.com. Xulon Press is a division of Salem Communications, the same people who bring you this nifty radio station.
This is Business 1110.
Yes, we're here in the house, ladies and gentlemen. We getting down, we rocking, we rolling. This is the Unleashed Radio Hour. Your host, Ron Klinger. We got the setup rolling here. I was talking all day today about how making sure we get our youth get some experience so they can get out there in the work world. Speaking of the work world, I've got my buddy, my colleague, my partner in crime.
Let's go.
My PIC is in the house with me, Nolan Davis from Up Social Live. Nolan, welcome to the studio.
Man, happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. Tell me who you brought with you today.
Hey, I brought two ladies here right now from Women Veteran Services. They're part of the Catholic Charities. Love what they're doing, building alliances with Romaine. She's the marketing person over there, and love what they're doing with the women veterans. And I wanted to bring them, give them their 15 minutes of fame and tell their story.
All right, so who's going first? So introduce yourself. Let them know you died. Yeah, you on the radio.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
My name is Rose Bennett, and I work as a job developer for the Women Veteran Services at Catholic Charities. I'm the one that go out and I speak to the employers about why they should hire veterans.
That experience they bring to the table? Look, I'm dialing into what I already talked about on the show, right?
Most definitely.
Hey, understand how to work, what to do, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. So so you help get those veterans out there and get them back and working. What are some of the ways that, other than meeting with them, what programs you put in play?
Some of the programs, so and Miss Vivian Wetchy will speak more to it, but it's a lot of job training, just getting them acclimated back to what that employer is looking for the services. So
Miss Vivian, come on in. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. My name is Vivian Wetchy, and I am the Senior Employment Coach for Women Veteran Services with Catholic Charities, and do a lot of training and mentoring of the women veterans to get them back into the workforce.
Yeah, no, that's and it's that mentoring and training because they're not sure how to make that transition back, right?
The transition sometimes is difficult for the ladies to get back into the workforce. They have the experience, but just knowing how to do it is what I do.
Well, and civilian life is different.
Absolutely.
Than military life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love what they're doing because they give brand new beginnings. They do everything from temporary housing to daycare, especially for the women who have children, the food setup. I mean, they set them up with the food. They assist them with the utilities. They do everything to get them back on their feet.
Get on your feet, get moving along. Thank you, veterans, for what you do, right?
Absolutely. So for the females that are homeless, they can have, from what I've just learned, they could actually be in the military for one day, right? One day be in the military, and now they can have all of these benefits, and they can get them back on their feet.
Wow. So with great resources, great benefits, I'd be remiss if I don't point out real quick, where can folks go to learn some more information about that? I mean, it's great that we got you here in studio, but websites, resources, what do you got for folks that are listening in today?
Okay, so the website, it's we have a new one.
Yes, we have a new website that they can go to, but if they call the main line at Catholic Charities, then they can actually talk to a case manager or a case worker there, and we will actually get them where they need to go.
Awesome. And again, some of those resources that are available where you're able to help folks, help those veterans, help those ladies get back on their feet, give those to those again. Because that's a part of where we put this out there so that people that are listening are aware, and then because you never know how that network is going to work, right?
Networking. So we help with the housing, we help with utilities, we help with clothing, we help with finding a job, we help with childcare, we help with food, anything that they're needing that they're not getting. And in fact, we have temporary housing or transitional housing available as well to those veterans, women that are out there with their children and are homeless. So we can actually put them in a place where they're safe. Yeah. Safety is a big issue when it comes to women and their children. We have found women that have been sleeping inside of a Walmart. That is not safe. It's a place to stay. They sleep in their cars outside of Walmart. We will go as a team, pick them up, bring them out, and put them in our transitional housing facility.
And to be that beacon of light for them.
Absolutely.
To help put them on a positive path forward.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what else would you like to share with folks here today?
Well, I just want to say, if you notice, I bring only the top-notch, most excellent people to this show, right?
Right.
So we're always trying to put the spotlight.
We always trying to break it down.
Come on, man. We always trying to put the spotlight on the people that deserve the spotlight.
Correct.
That's really behind the scenes, making a lot of good things happen for people's lives. It's one thing to be an entrepreneur and have the ideas and do everything that you need to do, and that struggle is real. But then to be an entrepreneur and have a nonprofit and start it from nothing, just like off a shoestring with the heart of gold, and making sure that people are getting taken care of. So that's why I wanted to bring them in.
Well, and that's where you and I, from the beginning.
Come on, man.
From the beginning, right? Ebony and Ivory here in studio. I always drop that like it's hot, right, brother?
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
But that's the whole purpose and the whole point of the setup. That's where you and I agreed that what we want to be able to do with what your part is of picking them up, surprising what's going on. Y'all had no idea what was happening today, did you?
And actually, these are not even the people that's supposed to be on here.
Yeah, so it was a surprise to us all.
Right, it was definitely a surprise, and we're late because. Right. We're late because we were standing around and they were on the phone with the person so what is this now? Yeah. And everybody was like, who are you with?
Because you rolled up with a camera, you rolled up with microphones.
Come on, man.
You rolled up with
limos from Roxy Limo.
Right.
Who has a limo outside?
With your own personal photographer, Garland.
Third Coast Imagery.
Look, Hey, and I'm just surprised. Boom. I'm surprised he ain't been clapping nonstop for us.
Right, exactly. That's only on my show. He only does that on my show.
Only on your show.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
So
wait. The ladies want to talk here, bro. We can take this time all by ourselves.
I just wanted to say we'd be remiss if we didn't say our director, Miss Olivia Bush, started this initiative, the Women's Veterans Program, and brought it to connected with Catholic Charities. She's the entrepreneur, the visionary that saw the need.
Found a need and endeavored to meet it.
It's growing.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful.
And that's why, ladies, I'm glad to have you both here on the show today. That's why we do this on the Unleashed Radio Hour. We had a chance to talk about networking and all that stuff. But what we want to be able to do with this segment, what we want to be able to do together is really give a spotlight to what's right. And let folks know that you know what, we all in this together. I don't care what you think, where you're from, what you do. The fact is, we are in this, and that's what I love. And I'm going to give a little shout out to our H-Town culture. Is we do take care of each other here, right? And that doesn't exist all over the country, right? But we do. We take care of folks around here, and that's what this is about, of putting a spotlight on what you guys do that's right.
Absolutely.
Amen. What else would you like to share with us today? Oh, he started the clap, right?
Wait, on that.
Garden.
Hey, one of you said that you've been here for 4 years, correct?
Yes,
Miss Vivian.
4 years.
And you've been here for 2 years. How long has it been in existence? When did she start this?
It's over 10 years. Olivia Christina Bush, I met her when we were bankers together, and this has been her vision. I call it her baby that she gave birth to. And it's growing over the 10-year period. You would be amazed at the number of women that have gone through our program, the number of women that have gotten on the pathway to hope and self-sufficiency. So it's 10 plus years that this vision was birthed by Olivia.
Yeah, and it truly does become a labor of love. It's
Absolutely.
where the values are aligned, interest, where those strengths come to play. And that's a lot about gaining that experience, ladies and gentlemen. Tying into the show today, we want you to go out there. I want you to follow along. Give them again. Where can they find out some more information?
They can call 713-351-6926.
Very good, and that's with the Catholic Charities helping out. Mr. Nolan Davidson here with Up Social Live. Hey, now, real quick, when we gonna be on TV, bro? When's this all gonna get on the real airwaves?
We trying to get it up there. We got a couple of different things that we need to do from an edit standpoint at the network.
Yeah.
And I should be going to the network next week, and we should be
So
rocking
what you
and
need to
rolling.
do is go out, find Up Social Live on Facebook, follow along at Unleashed Radio Hour on Facebook. Hey, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, it's always an honor and a privilege to be on the airways with you. I want to give thanks to all the folks in the studio. Clap it up for everybody taking care of business today with the setup. Yeah, I got to give you your clapping opportunity. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for dialing in and listening today. This has been the experience known as the Unleashed Radio Hour. Until next week, see ya.